exclusive first ever The House review.
There are no reviews for this movie that are up.
We got the scoop on this one.
As of
Up that hot scoop.
As of now, I have no idea what, unless all of the critics out there just ended up murdering each other on who gets to use the quote, I guess the house doesn't always win. And they all just canceled each other out.
No one was raising the roof this time.
I don't know. I thought for sure the guy sitting behind you was going to really like this movie.
He was obnoxious. I was like, there was no one else in there. And he's like, I'm going to sit right behind you and kind of be a breather. Just...
It was the only thing that was making me laugh about that was in my head. I was like, yeah, this situation is really funny if I just think to myself, God, Allison has a really weird laugh.
What?
Like as if from my point of view, it's you laughing.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't be hearing me laughing in this. That was the saving grace of this movie having no laughs, is that we didn't have to hear that guy behind us very much.
Yeah.
I could hear him in his popcorn bag all the time, like obnoxiously.
That was me.
Man, this movie, I can say I didn't like anything in this movie until like the last 10 minutes. when they had to fight the mobster and they set him on fire.
Jeremy Renner is in this.
Yeah, and then they just like actually started a plot of some sort. And they followed a script for the most part that had the least line-orama in it. That's the only part that I liked.
Yeah, what was kind of funny was the fact that guy was really, really loud and really talky through all the trailers, but during the actual movie he was relatively silent. That was actually kind of funny.
See that.
Going to see that one. That was pretty funny. Just silent in this movie. And the trailer, I actually kind of enjoyed a lot of the trailers for this movie.
Because it showed the good parts, I guess?
Yeah, kinda. A lot of them were funnier in the trailer than they were in the actual movie.
Because a lot of the jokes, like any line-orama, they're funny until they just keep going and explain them.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, it was funny, and then they just had to add like 2 more of the same line, slightly different.
What I liked about the trailer... Yeah, I'll get to this in a second. This movie really needed somebody on set. Let's call this person a director. To tell the actors to shut the fuck up and stick to the goddamn fucking script. I will be shocked if 5% of this movie is from an actual script.
I don't think it was as bad as, like, Sisters.
Only because Sisters was longer.
Sisters was longer, but like this, I felt it had more of a story than Sisters, but it wasn't like, a lot of it was just wasting time in the casino, and it felt like the movie was just at a dead halt until like the last 10 minutes, and they're like, oh shit, I guess we gotta like conclude things.
I'm sure on paper this looks perfectly fine. I'm sure in the script it might be alright, I don't know. Like, the plot's fine. And one thing that I liked about the trailer, I actually do like about the movie, any kind of chuckle or laugh I was getting from this movie was from Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, he was funny in it.
Yeah, he got...
When he's trying to get with his ex-wife.
Yeah.
And he's walking past her whatever place that she works at.
Trying to get her attention.
Yeah, like, he had funny lines. I think he's, honestly, like... He's better at improv?
Yes, because if a lot of his lines in this were improving, then it was genuine. It still felt like it was his character. I can't tell by looking at his character in this film whether he's ad-libbing or whether he's sticking to the script, which is good, because it makes it feel like he's actually this character he's playing. And because of that, I liked his plotline. His story I really liked. I liked that he's making this casino because he's going through depression, he's got a gambling addiction, and he wants to get back with his ex-wife. So every time the movie was focused on him, it felt like a genuine comedy. And so what I'm left with is this kind of funny Jason Mantzoukas movie that's mixed in with this shitty Will Ferrell, Amy Poehler movie where they won't shut up.
Man, it was the same sort of stuff that was the problem in Sisters, but I didn't hate it as much as Sisters, but I didn't like it. And that, like, it's a lot of, like, drugs and partying, and then, like, they're gonna be acting all tough, and then, like, yeah, and then we say the word fuck. Yeah, the word fuck. Because that's really funny if we say the word fuck. And then, like, you know, getting high on pot and getting drunk. Whoa. And I was like, there were so many moments that I knew were supposed to be funny, structured. And I was just thinking, like, if you just encapsulated this clip, if you were just on, like, YouTube, and you saw, like, a 2-minute clip of just this scene, what would be the funny part about it? What would people be laughing at? Like, I've seen much funnier sketches online than anything that was encapsulated in this movie. Like, and it's not even just taking it out of context, because a lot of it is just contextless. It's like, this scene, we're gonna have them, like, someone's doing something at the casino, and then it's self-contained, but it's not funny.
Yeah, it could all be interchanged with each other, like a lot of the jokes in this movie, because Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler are not playing characters.
No.
They're playing Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler. And because, like, I don't know what the script of this movie looks like, but God, the people who wrote this should be fucking fuming by this movie. Because the plot is fun. The plot is, they're a married couple, their daughter goes off to college, turns out they don't have the money to send her to college, so these two and Jason Mantzoukas make their... It's, honestly, it's like a shitty ad-libbed version of Old School. With Will Ferrell and Vince Vaughn.
I was thinking when I was watching it, it was very similar to some of the plot elements for Rough Night.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not exactly, but it reminded me of that a lot, and it made Rough Night seem funnier, which was sad.
You're right, because Rough Night was structured better than this. Rough Night sucked, but it was structured better than this. And as much annoying ad-libbing was in Rough Night, it still felt like there were characters on screen. This is seriously just Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler stuttering through a bunch of ad-libbing, not knowing when to shut the fuck up and when to drop their fucking shtick and to actually play fucking character.
Well, that's why the best parts were when it had to be scripted. Like, when they had to fight the mobster guy, or when they had to go steal the money and stuff. Like, you can do some improv in that, but the scene depends on following the plot, because there are important elements in that scene. You know, you gotta reveal, like, why he stole the money, or how they foil him, or whatever. And those are the best parts.
Yeah.
And seeing so many comedies like this, especially because we just saw Rough Night, reminds me just, like, how much I miss
scripts.
Just having a script in comedies. Like, how much that helps, just not having to wait for them to ramble through something.
Yeah, remember when comedy and writing were a thing that fucking went together, and you don't just have these idiots ad-libbing because they've been in funny movies in the past, funny movies that probably had a fucking script.
Yeah.
Because
these are comedians I like. It's not like, I mean, I know you don't care for Will Ferrell as much.
He's hit or miss with me.
But, like, I like them. I just don't like this style of movie, because they all just bleed together, and they're always the same sort of obnoxiousness where I'm waiting for the jokes to happen. And there are some comedians that are really good at improv, and you can get some magic improv moments on camera, but it cannot structure the whole thing.
No. Look at there's a lot of movies that have been saved by things like that. Look at Look at a lot of the improving that Eddie Murphy put into, like, Beverly Hills Cop, which is a great fucking movie. And a lot of the back and forths that they do in Ghostbusters and things like that.
The improv that was put into Bushwhacked.
Yeah, no,
Comedy classic.
And
Daniel
Bushwhacked.
Stern saved the day.
He did, thankfully. Oh, God, he made that comedy gold. No, you can...
But you know what? Bushwhacked was funnier than this.
Kinda, yeah. Like, you can... You can certainly have that work in your movie. Absolutely you can. But in those movies, it still feels like they're playing a character. Like, it still feels like, they're... Eddie Murphy is always Axel Foley in that movie. He doesn't just stop and then just do a bunch of improv that takes you out of the movie and then suddenly he's Axel Foley again. No, it consistently feels like this is Axel Foley through this movie. The characters in Ghostbusters consistently feel like the Ghostbusters through the movie. It isn't just simply, let's just have them shoot the shit in front of the camera and it's gonna be good because they were in better movies. But this movie does that for 95% of this fucking movie.
Well, and not all comedians are good at improv.
Yeah.
Just because you're a funny comedian does not mean that you're good at improv.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them, unless you're trained in it, like being able to create a scene like that, like the guys from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
It's not going to be structured very well. It's a lot of rambling and then hoping something hits, and then they keep all of the takes anyway.
And the ones they don't use, they put in the blooper reel at the end of the movie.
It's funnier when it's out of the structure of the movie, though, because if you just put it in a blooper reel, even if it's a miss, it's kind of funny because they're sort of stumbling over each other. But, like, in the context of the movie, you're like, I came here to, like, see a story. I didn't come here to see you dicking around on set.
Yeah. And, like, Amy Poehler does have a lot of experience in improving. But, again, the best part of this movie is Jason Mantzoukas, who acts circles around the both of them.
Yeah.
Like, he completely does. It's like,
he's good at improving in a specific character.
Yeah.
Granted, this is the character he usually plays, but he's very good at it.
No, he is. He has a very, very, very natural charisma.
Yeah, and he knows specifically what kind of character that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very consistent and fits with his story because he is supposed to be a mess.
Yeah.
He's falling apart. And he always kind of looks that way anyway. So,
yeah.
whereas with them, yeah, I didn't buy that Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler were a married couple trying to help their daughter. I didn't buy that they were married or related to this girl at all.
Uh-huh. It didn't help the fact that this girl who plays the daughter couldn't have given less of a shit about this movie as she fucking tried. Like, she looked as annoyed at those two as the fucking audience. Like, this kid has less to do with this plot, which kind of centers around her, than the poor neighbor girl at fucking Book of Henry.
That is true. That is a good point. That, like, for the character that this plot is about, she's not built up at all. All we know is she likes to smoke pot with her friends and watch Walking Dead with her parents.
Yeah. That's it. She couldn't give a rat's ass about anything. I mean,
the cop was better built up than she was.
He got some, like, Rob Hubel's the cop in this. He got a couple of laughs out of me because, like, yeah, it felt like Rob Hubel is playing this cop. Yeah. So whatever
the ones that worked the best were just, they felt like characters.
Yeah.
Like the guy who was the councilman or whatever, Bob.
Nick Kroll.
Yeah, like it felt like he was a character, and I got what he was doing, and most of it wasn't just a bunch of rambling nonsense.
Yeah, and you're right. In the last 5 minutes, when it seemed like, wow, I think there actually is a script here, there was some funny stuff with him suddenly turning into the T-1000.
Yeah, why did that happen? I don't know.
It was so random that, like, I kind of got a chuckle out of that, because I was like, okay, this feels like it's from a script.
The random What About Bob reference, though I'm sure that was improv, but it was funny at least.
Yeah, that got
and
a grin out of me.
And at least that was, like, it didn't go on endlessly. They kind of kept the pace going on. So it felt like even when they inserted some stuff that felt like it was improv, it still kept going. It wasn't like they're like, we got to say this line and then 3 more things.
And there are parts that worked in the trailer that, I mean, I still kind of got a chuckle at in this, but okay, take for instance the part where they chop the guy's finger off. In the trailer, that kind of got a laugh out of me. Like, in the Red Band version, it's more graphic, but in the regular trailer, like, they're arguing about what to do. They accidentally chop something off, and you don't see it, and then they're kind of freaking out a little bit, and then Jason Mantzoukas has the punchline.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, if you tell your friends that, like
Yeah.
that, him saying that still got a chuckle out of me of this. But that was funnier in the trailer, that whole sequence, because sometimes less is more. In the movie, and I know they show a bit of this in the Red Band trailer, but in the movie, it goes on so long with them chopping off the guy's, even before they chop off the finger, it goes on so long with them arguing each other, and then they chop off this guy's finger, and then blood's going everywhere, and they're trying to stick it back on and put a shoe on it. Will Ferrell's ad-libbing in this movie sucks so hard that I don't know how this character functions in society.
I don't, man.
He doesn't know math in this movie.
That guy, not him, I forget the actor's name that we were just talking about.
Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He recovered from being stabbed so quick and did not go to the ambulance. He just gets up and then rolls the guy in the carpet, and then cut to him and his fiance, or I guess wife, making up. I guess he's fine. Like, there's like firefighters out there. He's standing around. He was stabbed in the gut. And like,
Yeah.
whatever.
I thought that was kind of funny because, like, here's why
I
I'm
thought
sure.
the punchline was gonna be like he faints or something because he was stabbed.
Or he was gonna look down, because this movie's actually really bloody. Like, I thought he was gonna look down and like some of his guts were hanging out or something. Like, I kind of thought that's where that was going,
I
but
felt like I felt like it needed something like that just to like close the scene out. Yeah, like I felt like at least have him like passing out or her like make some comment about like, hey, weren't you stabbed or something. Like, I felt like it needed just that little punchline there. But overall, his stuff was funny.
There's funnier stuff going on in the chat right now. They're
What?
just going through saying like brick
House
house,
names?
roadhouse,
Yeah, we were
blood
ma-
house.
Yeah, we were making house jokes. William Cat, House MD. Yeah.
American Pie Beta House. Yeah, we were doing that too. And like, yeah, man, I don't know what else about this movie. With Mantzoukas like quickly recovering from that, here's why, like, I don't know, maybe on paper this is a little bit better because there are things about this that I like in theory. Like, I think the plot's fine, and I do like this is the kind of stuff you would see in like a zany 80s movie. This movie would probably work really well as an 80s comedy because it is one of those comedies where they're doing a lot of illegal shit and there are no repercussions for any of it.
Yeah, like
and
at the
I
end,
like
it's
that.
Basically, just like, come on. And
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
Give them their, yeah, like Rob Hubel, who's the cop, says to the evil councilman, hey, give them their money back. Because he's stolen like hundreds of thousands of dollars from their illegal gambling thing. When the cop walks in and the guy's doing blow on like a fucking mirror
Yeah.
on the table. Like, I like that about this. Like that it is a comedy that you would see back in the day where they're doing all this illegal shit, but there's no legal repercussions for it at all. I like that. But again, it's a bunch of dog shit ad-libbing because it's made in 2017.
I like the idea of the movie they didn't make. You know?
Yeah, you know, yeah, right,
It's a lot of
exactly.
these things, because I mean, like, there are things in there that are funny. I do like that Will Ferrell's character, as haphazard as it is, I like that he goes from like this scared, overly protective dad into like this crazy guy in women's sunglasses cutting off
Yeah.
people's hands. That's funny. And even the idea with him and Amy Poehler together, that they go from like this suburban couple to like running this casino and like getting high and wearing these fancy suits, and like that idea is very funny.
It is.
And that they got this friend who's kind of falling apart, and
Yeah.
I feel like there are things they could have done with it if they weren't dinking around doing nothing.
And unfortunately, that's 90% of this movie.
Yeah, and
Like-
that's just how comedies are structured now. It's just unfortunate.
You could take you could honestly edit this into like a really funny half-hour Jason Mantzoukas short film. If you just use all of his plot bits from the movie, you might really have something there. I mean, as it is. I'll say it's a rental because I want to support Jason Mantzoukas being in movies, but I cannot sit here and say go see this in the theater.
How would you compare it to the other movie we saw tonight? Was it worse or better?
Oh, Despicable Me 3.
I had
to think about it for a second.
You didn't remember what we saw.
Well, it's like this modern trend now. Like, what is it, the third or fourth time we've had kids movie followed by shitty R-rated comedy? Like, there was Cars 3 and Rough Night. There was Chipmunks and Sisters. Like, okay. I guess that's a double feature the movies are doing, that AMC and all the theaters are doing now. Man. Shit, that's tough, because they're both... I didn't like them both, but for different reasons. I probably got more chuckles out of this. This movie is... I hesitate to say it's structured worse. They're both structured maybe equally as bad, just for different reasons.
Despicable Me had a script, but I was so indifferent to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know why I asked, because I don't really know myself. It's kind of tough.
I know.
I wouldn't really want to rewatch either of them.
They're both only 90 minutes, so I can't even say, like, well, one's shorter than the other. No, they're both, like, only 90 minutes. So I'll say that about this. Like, I mean, it's shorter than fucking Sisters, which is probably why I wasn't mad at this movie.
Yeah, it was better than Sisters, but I don't know. Overall, I don't really recommend it. Like, even as a rental, it's not really that fun. There are some chuckles, but...
I got a lot of chuckles out of Jason Mantzoukas, and I'd like to see him in more movies. So I'm like, I'll say it's a rental. Sorry, we're not having a crazy fit all of a sudden. A damn moth got in here.
It's trying to keep out of the rain.
Having my flashbacks.
Get out.
Go away. Whoop. Roam free. Be with your family.
Yeah, if we'd filmed this could have been in a movie. Well, remember that part where they said, "Oh, mosquito," and they went, and they're like, "Well,
there's a mosquito there."
It was weird because there was a mosquito, and then
now your hands are gonna be itchy. They're gonna be itchy now. We need to go to the store and get some ointment. Ad-libbing.
You know that rule with, like, when you're dressing up and they're like, take off one accessory before you go out? It should be with these movies. If you look at any improv scene, cut out at least one line.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3. Like, look at what you got, and then cut out something.
Mm-hmm.
Because these, like, if they were edited tighter, like, it would be so much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even if it was all this improv. The fact that they just keep in all of the takes that they do, it makes it just seem like, okay, you said it, I got the point.
Mm-hmm.
But here's like 3 more versions.
Don't worry, next week there'll probably be another one. What did we get? We got trailers for... We got the trailer for Bad Moms Christmas in front of this, and at the other movie we got the trailer for Daddy's Home 2, which was weird because they're both kind of the same plot.
Yeah, it was in front of this one too, actually, while you were gone.
Oh,
Daddy's Home 2
okay.
was again in front of this one.
I was thinking about that when I came back. I was like, I'm surprised that was in front of Despicable Me 3 and not here.
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Well, thank God.
The trailer was funnier than the entirety of The House.
Yeah, the trailer for The House is funnier than the movie The House.
Well, that happens with a lot of these because, again, the editing is tighter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You have to be concise with what's funny about it, and they need to realize you need to do that with the actual movie.
No. We don't need to edit these things. It's got funny people in it. That means the movie will be funny. Editing. As useless as writers, right? I hate this kind of movie. Alright, next week is, I think it's Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man's next week. I think that's like a midweek release. I'm pretty sure anyway. I don't know when it comes out next Thursday. Any other final thoughts about this? Other than it wasn't very good.
I got nothing.
Right.
Don't bother with it.
Yeah, it's just watch the trailer, I guess, or rent it if you want to support Manzukis. But you'll be disappointed.